Welcome to Socksville. Last episode, we started redesigning or rezoning, really, our city to make it look a little bit better, redoing some road structures. Today, we're going to focus on the right side of the entrance to the city, as we're looking at here. After that, we're going to take a little bit of a look at figuring out how to use harbors, and I don't like where we place them so far. Definitely going to be short-term as we learn how to use them. After that, we finalize a little bit of this residential area just to keep the demand in check. Lots to keep up with. Very much a management game. I'm digging it. The first thing I started off with was moving our water pump. We want to get the water plants to their own isolated area so that we can start zoning this other area exactly how we want to. So I put 2 down. Then we delete the old one and check the stats to make sure we're producing enough water. We want to make sure we don't have to think about this for a little while, so we do end up putting a 3rd one down, just to build us a little bit more time before we have to put any more water pumps in the city. Unfortunately, on this next part, we start kicking out a lot of residents in this area. We do not want this low density here in the entrance of the city, so we're going to rezone it. And to begin with, the game's a little confused about what it thinks should be zoned here. We kind of ignore that to begin with. As you see, we're just restructuring the road layout here as well to fit in as much zonable areas as we can, or as many zonable areas as we can. We're going to put a lot of commercial and a lot of office in this area, but the game right now thinks that it was residential, so it's not favoring the offices, but we keep going, we keep plugging along till we get the game to start spawning in those offices. It's able to spawn in the commercial zones originally, or at first, and then once the game starts catching up to what is in the area, it starts to favor having the offices in that location. And then instead of being red when we're looking at the zoning of offices, it does switch to green, which is helpful, kind of getting to know how the game is changing things along the way, and just allowing us to use the guidance that the game gives us to know whether or not we're zoning correctly. Took a little bit of a gamble, but it did pay off in the long run. And here you can see us using the terraform tools to flatten out this block a little bit, and then we're going to redo the roads. The road structure as was just off a little bit, so we're redoing it, getting these roads aligned exactly how they need to be, and unfortunately kicking some people out along the way. But that's part of the process here. We talked about redoing a lot of things and not really feeling bad because it is our first playthrough. Some people got to get relocated, some businesses have to get relocated, but I want this to look a lot better in the long run, and I feel like we're heading down that direction. Next, we switch our focus to our industrial area. Right now, we're getting close to running out of capacity in the landfill, so I wanted to extend that as much as we could with the land that we owned right now. Also, we did the upgrades that were available to us, because I believe that does give us a little bit more capacity and processing speed as well. Then we're going to rezone the area that we demolished, fit as many industrial buildings as we can, because we're still really reliant on the industrial zoning here. I'm not really sure if we can get to the point where we just import everything financially and don't have to produce our own goods, or if we have to keep this industrial area the whole time. That's something we'll learn along the way. I have a feeling we will be keeping it. I know in some City Skylines 1 playthroughs, I would shift towards only offices and have like a really clean city. I'm not really sure if that'll work with the balance of the game here. And then we quickly shift to this residential area. I was just really worried about some of the zoning and the demands that were happening right now with our residential, getting a lot of areas that were highly valued, or the value was too high, and the individuals just weren't happy with that. And I have a feeling that's because we're not keeping up with the residential demand, and that's causing the prices of the homes to increase. So here we're starting to finish some of this coastline and get the rest of it built out road structure wise, so that we can then zone it as well, with a little balance of high density and low density commercial and offices as well. Again, pushing out and pushing away some of the residential from this area. I really want this section, or this corner of the city, to be focused on commercial and office. In this next segment, we start to play around with harbors, and I wanted to do the cargo harbors, and I'm accidentally putting down the other type of harbor here, but we're building out this land a little bit. I want to call this like a learning section of the video Definitely don't think this is going to be the long-term place for these. We'll figure out something else that makes sense when we open up more tiles, but I wanted to start learning, and you can see here we're starting to play around with kind of a feeder road. I didn't realize I was using the wrong harbor at first, so we do end up replacing that. But it was interesting. I wanted to figure out how to do these paths and figure out how to get some importing into town with the harbor, but it looks like I do need to unlock a lot more tiles before we can do that. So I had the idea of just using local harbors, and you can see here we're switching to the other one as well. And to see if they would just send the goods from this one to the other one instead of using the road network. I think the areas are too close together, so it didn't really work. Like I said, it was just an experiment, and we'll probably revisit this long term after we get a little bit more of the tiles unlocked. Yeah, city entrance is starting to look a lot better. I'm digging it as we come in here. One of the things I didn't feature on the video because I'm still struggling with getting the crosswalks disabled in the roundabout, and I feel like it's kind of a bug in the game right now. But I want this cross path here, so where they're going underneath here, and if we go underneath, we can see we did this nice little X to allow them to quickly go either direction. But you can see we come in here with tools, and this one's to take away the crosswalks. We can add them and get rid of them, but they're still using them, so it's a little confusing. So I imagine that's just a bug in the game right now, hopefully. Thought about doing elevated paths, but I feel like these look better. We could move this a little bit, but I dig it. Over here we have this nice little parking lot as well, and one of my favorite areas was just kind of, if I can find it. Yeah, it's this right here, this detailing that we're doing, just this path. You know, we have this parking lot and then a path for people to walk. You see they're utilizing it, but we're kind of thinking of this as kind of a break area for the people that work in these buildings here. Not really sure about this building. It might go away. I think it's a little big for the skyline on that side, but we'll see. Then over here, you know, this harbor, definitely temporary, trying to learn what's going on with that. Haven't gotten any ships to spawn yet, and I think it's because they're super close. That's not going to work. And then this area here, we're going to continue out to this road and finish that up as well. We did hit Big City, so we're plugging along at that. We got a lot of developmental points opened up. Right now we have 12 as well as 27 tiles, so large expansion could come soon. Next episode, I think we're going to focus a little bit on this traffic, make sure we get that cleaned up a little bit, as well as potentially take a break from the redesign and start expanding. But yeah, I'm digging it. I'm loving this city. I'm loving this game. We got a lot of problems in town right now, but we expected that as we do this restructure and redesign. Money's up to 13 million. We're making $500,000 a month. Looking really good. I'm Socksway Up. Thanks for hanging out. I will catch you on the next episode.